Hey, what's up guys? This is Cole with CJC Off-Road. We are super excited to bring you guys the next chapter in our 2011 Super Duty steel body build. We've been very excited about this truck all around the shop. This really is one of our favorite trucks to come through the shop in a while. And being that we're so excited about it, we've been doing a ton of work on this thing, so we want to kind of bring you guys up to speed of where this truck stands currently. Now you guys may remember this truck came to us as a bone stock grandpa truck. This was actually purchased from a relative of one of our early customers here at CJC Off-Road. This truck has been garage since new, has 60-something thousand miles, every maintenance record you can think of, and really was, in my opinion, a great blank canvas for a build like what we're doing here today. From there, as you guys probably saw in our previous video, we threw a Carli 4.5-inch backcountry system on it. 18-inch Method NV wheels, 38-inch Toyo MT tires, custom color matching from our friends over at Autobahn Collision Center in Torrance, California, and a variety of small little details like reverse lights and things like that. And it really was a very cool build. The truck had the shell on it, nice looking all around overland rig. And it actually rode and handled great with the backcountry setup. It's about as soft as these trucks really get in terms of on-road ride quality. That said, being the guys here at CJC Off-Road, we cannot leave well enough alone, and we said, okay, let's go ahead and turn this thing up to the next level. So early days at CJC Off-Road here, as we kind of got this shop going back in like the 2012, 2013, 2014 era, one of the baddest kits for these steel body Super Duty trucks back then was Carli's 4.5-inch Dominator. Basically maximized the amount of travel that these trucks have, worked killer off-road, but also rode and handled great on-road. So with all that in mind, we really felt like this would be a great candidate for this build here. And one of the coolest things about this is it actually utilizes Carli's custom coil buckets that they fabricate for these trucks. If you look at the detail on these coil buckets, they are absolutely killer. Tons of nice fabrication work, nice welds throughout. And the cool thing with these coil buckets is they're only required on larger shocks, such as 3-inch diameter, like these Dominator shocks, Carli's Unchained shocks, or they're coilovers. So they're not required for most of these builds, but if you really want to push the envelope, they really kind of come together to help basically create a really cool finished product. So this 4.5-inch Dominator setup not only uses these custom fabricated coil buckets, but it also uses rear fabricated shock mounts. All these components kind of come together, allowing Carli to fit these larger 3-inch diameter shocks under these trucks. And again, one of the really cool things about this being a Carli system in general is the fact that this was a 4.5-inch backcountry, right? Great all-around system, no complaints with it. But we had the opportunity to go ahead and upgrade to the Dominator system, and that was simply a shock package and coil buckets away. So again, one of the really great things with these Carli sets is the fact that they are upgradable over time. You're not necessarily shoehorned into a particular setup if you decide you want to go bigger later on. Now you may notice this is not exactly what the normal Dominator shock package looks like. So for this particular build, we opted to custom order these shocks. We spec them with black anodized caps, top and bottom, black hoses, and then fin reservoirs. This is kind of not something that affects the performance so much. It's more of just an aesthetic upgrade, but being that we're trying to go with like a gray and polished kind of overall look, we felt that this shock package really kind of tied this whole build together. We do offer this as an option, so if you are looking to basically custom order the shocks in a finish like this, we're more than happy to help accommodate that for your build as well. So from here, we threw on 18-inch Innovate G500 wheels. These wheels are actually polished and clear powder coated from Innovate. What this means is that this polished finish on these wheels will stay this way. The clear powder coat actually helps to protect the longevity of the finish on the wheels. I really like the contrast of the polished wheel on the darker gray truck. It actually ties in really well with the chrome backing of the factory headlights as well. One little detail we put on this build, you'll notice the truck did start to feel a little bit down on power once we put the 38-inch tires on it. Still pretty quick, don't get me wrong. These 6-7 trucks do have a lot of get up to them. But we were like, okay, let's see if we can squeeze a little more, but still keep this thing smog legal here in California. So what we did is actually threw on a Banks Derringer. This is one of the only aftermarket programmer style setups for these trucks that is meant to be emissions compliant, which is something that we are basically stuck working with here, being located in California. Cool thing is we threw that thing on there, and actually it was a noticeable improvement. The truck did feel more peppy when accelerating, going to pass on freeways, things like that. And from there, the stock exhaust on these trucks, I'm really not a fan of that dual tailpipe design, especially this one being a little older, starting to show some corrosion on that setup. So I yanked that off, put on a Banks single, it's basically a 4-inch exhaust. It actually goes to 5-inch. Really nice looking setup for these trucks. I'd say it ties in a lot better with all the other work we did on this build. And it's kind of like a nice cap to help finish off this truck. Our friends over at Banks have been fantastic to work with, and so we're really excited to see their various niche products for these trucks kind of come to life on these builds. From there, we couldn't leave well enough alone in terms of lighting. It already had the rear S2 reverse light kit that we put on from Baja Designs previously. Up front, we added Katie Fabworks fog light brackets to mount Baja Designs XL Sport lights. And in the center, we actually ran Katie Fabworks brackets to mount 4 XL80 lights from Baja Designs. This light sub is absolutely like one of the brightest things I've ever seen for just a simple bolt-on setup. Desert at night, this thing just lights up everything. These XL80 lights are insane, actually, how bright they really are. And the cherry on top, in my opinion, is we were actually able to tie all these lights into the factory upfitter switches on this truck, so that way everything integrates as factory. So really nice touch on this build, and that's really what we like to do here at CJC Off-Road with these custom builds. After we decked out the front bumper on this truck, we said, okay, let's throw even more lighting at this thing. So we went ahead and put an S8 light bar from Baja Designs. This is actually an old school kit that Baja Designs has offered for many years for these trucks. It's a 20-inch S8 bar, it goes in the front grille of the truck. So the 20-inch S8 bar actually has 3 little amber daytime running lights kind of built into it. We tie those into the truck's factory daylights or factory daytime running light system. And so basically, as you go down the street, you actually see those 3 little amber lights in the front grille, kind of similar to a Raptor, but it's a little different. And I thought that was a really cool touch to tie in with the rest of this build. From there, we actually went to a GJ third brake light. These are a couple years discontinued, so we really had to track this thing down. But what we were able to do is actually squeeze 3 Baja Designs S2 lights up in the third brake light area. This is a really cool modification that actually serves as a dust light as well for off-roading purposes. From there, we actually added a backflip G2 cover, which is my favorite cover for a simple way to kind of just protect what's in the bed and basically finish off the overall truck. We did really like the shell on this thing, but our plans are to off-road this truck pretty hard. And so I really didn't want the shell beating up into the cab on the truck. So we went ahead and took that off and replaced it with that back cover. Really slick overall setup. We really like this Dominator system on this truck. We've already been driving around here for a couple days, and the ride quality is absolutely phenomenal. The truck, even though it's a 2011, so this truck is now 14 years old, it drives and handles like new. It's extremely tight. It's extremely composed. You whip the wheel on the freeway, the truck is just flat, like it just feels like it should. I cannot say enough good things about the Dominator system on these trucks. It is hands down my favorite system for these older trucks. You get a ton of increased off-road performance. I mentioned in a previous video, we're going to show you guys this truck airborne in the air. We've not done that yet. That's actually going to be our next video with this truck, is to go ahead and show you guys how these things perform off-road. So for now, we're going to focus more on the build itself. I can't say enough things for how happy we are with how this truck turned out. Looks wise, I actually think this is, we've really kind of brought this truck into like 2025 as far as like being a very current looking truck, even though it's a little older now. This is one of my favorite builds we've done in a while. I've been driving this truck actually a ton recently. And while we've essentially finished most of what we have to build on this truck, we're actually gonna put together another video for you guys, just so you guys can see what this truck is capable of off-road. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We're really excited to get that coming in the next upcoming month or two. If you guys have any questions, you're trying to build a similar steel body truck, have questions on what we recommend or things like that, we're happy to help out. So feel free to reach out to us. We really like this platform in general, and we look forward to kind of working with you guys on these builds in the future. Thank you so much for watching. We had a great time putting this video together.